Thank you, Diana. Welcome to Comics League Dark. I'm Jared. For right now, it's going to be me. For right now, hey, what's up, Tevia? And JJheat's going to join us soon. Hopefully, Nick and the others are going to join me. So let's get started, shall we? So until the guys get here, I'm going to talk about this Coyote Acme movie being killed, which, okay, this is odd. And it was a situation that I didn't see. Well, actually, I saw it coming today because it's Warner Brothers. So, for those of you that were out of the loop for this, here's the basic background. So, Warner Brothers Discovery Zaslav scrapped a Coyote v. Acme movie. Now, the interesting thing about this is that it was, I believe, written and directed by James Gunn, or it was like directed by James Gunn. The point is, James Gunn was heavily involved with this. So what's up, Brandy? And my day is going great, Tavia. Thank you. So, thing about this that's interesting is so what happened after this was there was public backlash. So what Zaslav did, thank you, Tavia. So what Zaslav did is he pulled back and essentially said, okay, we won't cancel it. We'll shop it around to other streaming services and see what happens. Okay, the thing is, we just got word today that according to the Wrap, it says here, okay, so in terms of like the other, I hear that Amazon wants to revive it. Yeah, but the thing is, okay, so here's what happened. Warner was seeking $75 to $80 million, but rejected offers from Netflix, Amazon, and Paramount. Insider told them, "Great to be here. Hey, great to have you, Quentin." And so what's interesting about this is that Warner Bros. Rejected all their offers. So my thinking is Zaslav went through this whole process just so he can say, "Hey, I'm listening to you guys," and then he just pulled the rug out from under them. And here's the thing: when people tell me that there's no way that they're gonna pull the plug on James Gunn's universe, because guess what? It's a new regime. This shows me it ain't a new regime. Stuff like this. I'm sorry, if this were a new regime that was like not gonna act like the old one, this wouldn't happen. They would have just taken the deal and says, okay, we'll sell it to another streaming service. Do they? Hails to the no, they don't. Tevia says, I made my own video, but I was pissed it got canceled. What the hell? The movie was good. How do you know the movie's good, though, Tevia? Hang on. How do you know the movie's good? Because none of us have seen it. I didn't even know it was coming out until it got canceled, but that's just me. Now, the interesting thing about this is, what is this going to mean for James Gunn's relations with the studio? Because here's the thing. According to people that have people on the inside, Gunn almost left DC because of this move. Now that's not happening, I'm like, what's going to happen with this? But here's the thing. What this is communicating to me is that nothing is safe. It doesn't matter the value. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the value of these of the project. Zeke says, I honestly think Warner Brothers just doesn't know what to do with the Looney Tunes IP. They don't even know what to do with the IP, with the DC IP, Zeke. They really, really don't. They really don't. They really, really don't. So it's like, no, they won't. If someone is able to revive Cody v. Acme, then somebody should make Superman Red Zone Henry Cavill. Yeah, but here's the thing. Warner has to like sell it to them. They have to like sign off on it. Warner so far is not. So unless one of the studios want to fork over $70 to $80 million, that's not going to happen. So that's the weird thing about this. And I'm like, I'm watching this and I'm like, look, I get that you guys like, I get, let me put it this way. The sad part when I was reading this, that Zaslav apparently didn't even watch the movie. He just pulled it. And I'm like, at least according to what we know about the Batgirl situation, at least he watched that one and decided that it wasn't going to be a good movie. So they pulled it. But this one, it hurts a little more. So I'm like, what is going on here? Tevye says, I can see James Gunn being pissed off and may leave WB because of this, but given he was committed to the company, this could damage his reputation. Like this way, this is damaging WB's reputation and Zaslav's reputation even more. So really, the way I could say it, if he were to leave because of this, he could say, you know what, screw this, because this company is being handled not effectively. Let me put it to you that way, not effectively. James Gunn and WB are all over the place. They have no idea what they're doing to a degree. Yeah, exactly. The minute he keeps changing his mind about stuff, that's when I'm really like, what the heck is going on? I don't like this. This is not working out here. If somebody, yeah, okay, so I read that. So I'm going to go through this article from the Wrap with you all, and then we can discuss this. So let me share my screen, and then we can get to working on this. So it says here, the final days of Coyote v. Acme, offers, rejections, and a Roadrunner race against time. Warner was seeking $75 to $80 million, but rejected offers from Netflix, Amazon, and Paramount, insiders told The Wrap. Okay, in early January, Coyote v. Acme producer Chris DeFaria got a startling phone call from a Warner Bros. Executives. They just want to get this behind them, the executive told DeFaria. They want to close the books. In the words of the Roadrunner, meet. The movie, a live-action animated hybrid that stars Will Forte and the Looney Tunes gang, had been earmarked for demolition on November 9th, but following the announcement that the movie would be canceled, a firestorm of outrage and indignation erupted. It was heightened by a friends and family screening that had already been planned before the cancellation announcement was made. The screening brought more goodwill and even a louder public outcry, which shows me that this is why they won't do like a public outcry for like the Ayer cut or something like that, because they really don't want to, because they don't want to continue that the public outcry there would be from that. And James Gunn, the man that killed the Snyderverse, still wants to make Peacemaker Part 2 with all the original people, by the way. But what was so exciting was that it felt like the film captured the voice of the Looney Tunes that we all love in a way none other versions had done so. Paul Scheer, who was at the screening, told The Wrap, the last movie featuring the characters, 2021's Space Jam: A New Legacy, was pilloried, sorry, I don't know why these people use flowery words, by critics, which isn't exactly. And we have someone in the chat, so let me find the appropriate, actually, you know what, I got it.
Batman doesn't do ships.
Hey, lad, what's up?
Hey, what's going on?
How you doing? Long time no see, brother.
Yep, no, yeah, surprise appearance. I was just chilling out, yeah.
So they pulled so it looks like the Acme movie's dead.
I just saw this like an hour ago. I was so surprised.
Because the problem with this, what I see is, this shows literally nothing is safe. Nothing. Not even Superman, because remember, James Gunn was heavily involved in this.
Right. Didn't they cancel it already? And then like there was backlash and they brought it back?
There was backlash. They didn't bring it back. They said they were going to shop it to other studios. And according to this, they did that, but no studio was willing to fork up the $75 to $80 million that Zaslav was offering, was demanding, if you will.
Man, that's crazy.
I mean, the thing is, lad, is that this shows me this is the exact same Warner Brothers that screwed over Zack Snyder, because they would pull stuff like this.
They really shouldn't. They need to get people, audiences back on their side. Like faith restored in them, and this isn't doing them any favors.
And Tevye brings up a good point. Superman legacy could be in danger because of this. So that's why I say anyone that tells you that Superman legacy it doesn't have to make a lot of money is wrong, because if it does, because let's say it doesn't do well, Zaslav is going to pull the plug. He is that type of executive who will say, you're not making me enough money, get out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, that's just the way it works. So now months later, Warner Brothers had enough. It's according to this article, it was in early January of this year that Warner Brothers finally said, okay, we're done. And it's not like they're going to shelve the movie. They're going to completely delete it like they did with Batgirl.
Oh boy.
They're gonna burn it to the ground, which I don't like that because I want filmmakers to be able to have their art shown. Because as a Snyderverse fan, I was denied that for so long.
Right.
But it's just annoying. Daniel says nothing good would come from a troublesome movie production made by Gunn or not. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I don't know. What do you think, lad?
I think it's a really bad look. You know, they are planning this 10-year DC plan. They want to rival the Marvel universe. They need to get faith back in their company as a brand, you know, Zaslav and everyone. They already know there's a reputation of them canceling stuff like Batgirl and other things, even if the is justified. This is only going to remind people that they're willing to cancel anything up to the very, the moment it enters the theater. So that means to me as a consumer, like, I may be interested in Superman Legacy and some of these other projects, but I'm not sure if they're just going to cancel the universe if things go south a little bit,
And that's the thing. What I've long said is I won't believe Superman Legacy is actually going to come out until I'm in the theater to watch Superman Legacy. I'm sorry. Warner Brothers has shown me. Let me put it this way. I would say this regardless of who was running DC. Warner Brothers has, until they show me otherwise, Warner Brothers has showed me, I'm sorry, they can't be trusted with all these IPs. And Randy makes a good point. I wish they had canceled Wonder Woman 84.
Yeah,
that would have been better.
That could have been one to cancel, yeah.
That could have been one to... Oh, Birds of Prey. There you go.
Yeah. By the way, I just I did see Aquaman 2 finally, like a little bit ago.
I liked it. What did you think?
I actually really enjoyed it. I still like the first one a lot more. This one still was really good. I thought it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I definitely enjoyed it. I agree with you. It's not as good as the first one, but it's still. Let me put it this way: of the movies of the DC movies that came out, this was the best one.
Yeah.
Dave says at this point, Gunn might be questioning whether he wants to risk spending years of his life working on these films. That's the thing, and I'm thinking about this from Gunn's perspective of an artist, because obviously, again. I gave Peacemaker the whole show a chance because I want every director to have the opportunity to tell their full story, because after all, it could surprise me. Now, my thing is, if I'm Gunn, this is really concerning to me because I'm like, to Dave's point, what happens if I get almost done and then Zaslav says, okay, you know what? I'm not confident in this. Pull it.
Yeah.
Plus, what other movie director wants to sign up with a company that you could get almost done? Like, they canceled a Scooby-Doo movie also that was almost done, lad.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, actually, you know what, lad? If you're a director, if you're a movie creative, and you know this studio has this reputation, would you sign up with them?
No, because I just wouldn't trust. I want to see it's a work of art, and then they're just gonna shred it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, and that's the sad part about it. And this was like the Snyder thing taught me this lesson, and I was willing to give Zaslav a chance even after the Batgirl thing, because that showed me, hey, he's willing to make a tough decision to protect the DC brand. I was fine with that. The minute he starts continuing to do it, because I thought that was just going to be a one-time thing, because it would be like, okay, at this point, the old regime didn't know what they were doing. We have to like stifle that. I could have supported that, but he keeps doing it. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see what the fine people. I kind of wish they had canceled the Flash movie. To a degree, I see what you're saying, Tavia. Or not told me it was the best DC movie since The Dark Knight, because they all say that. At this point, Gunn might be questioning whether. Okay, I actually we read that one. I am kind of sad and pissed off that these filmmakers are getting destroyed. And that's the thing. To a degree, I don't want Zack to come back to Warner Brothers. If he's gonna finish DC, I want him to stay at Netflix, because they are hella supporting him.
Right.
Hella. By the way, lads, look what I got.
Ooh.
This is really. I got the prequel comic. It's so good.
Is it?
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. So, on that note, it's like with Zack, they gave him 2 universes, and they basically said, "No, we want more Zack Snyder. Everything, no matter what you want to do, Go ahead.
Right.
Why would you leave that to come back to this crap hole?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if Warner Brothers wanted to bring Zach back, we'd have to like basically twist their arm to do it. And it's like, the fans deserve better than that.
But here's the thing. Let's say they bring Zach back. What guarantee do we have that they'll release the damn movie with this?
That's true, yeah.
Because what happens if somehow, on the unlikely occasion he gets to come back, he's making the movie, they just pull the rug out from under him again?
Yeah.
It's just, but I do love all the people that were like freaking out about that like telling people you shouldn't do hashtags for like restore the Snyderverse, are now hammering the release the Acme movie hashtag.
Yeah, that started up.
I'm like, hypocrisy much. I agree with you, but hypocrisy much. Yeah, a lot of filmmakers are now saying they won't work with Warner Brothers out of protest. I don't blame them. I 100% do not blame them. It really pisses me off, lad, because here's the thing. I want to be positive about DC, about all these projects. I really do. Then this happens.
Right. It's like we went through a lot with the whole Snyder's vision getting canned and, living with the, Hamadaverse for a long time. But it's like we can't even leave it in the past because Warner Brothers keeps doing this behavior,
Mm-hmm. The fact that at the Flash fail with the return of Michael Keaton, that's the other thing, or Andy, the thing about it, I thought that movie was going to do better than it did because it had Affleck and Keaton. The thing is, Randy, there's a generational divide between the fans of Keaton and the fans of like Affleck or something like that, or other actors returning per se. Like if Christian Bale was coming back as Batman, I would say it had a better chance because more the audience that was their Batman. There's less of a year's divide, if that makes sense.
Hey, Jared, give me 1 sec. I'm gonna switch over to my desktop. I'll be back in a second.
Okay, cool. But Tevi says sadly he didn't learn his lesson stuff, especially all his movies bombing. Yeah, exactly. And ultimately, at this point, I feel like honestly, just personally for me, until I see some changes, I'm not gonna be like all puppies and rainbows. Yeah, come back to WB and make us some tax write-offs. I mean, films, of course. We release films. Wink, wink. Yeah, exactly, Dave. Thank you. That's a good one. It says that in a truly inglorious end, a source close to the movie doesn't believe Warner Brothers would even announce that they hadn't found a home for the movie. They would unceremoniously delete it, never to be seen again. So they wouldn't even say we've decided not to release the movie. They would just pull it. Imagine that. And that's the thing. I'm like, this ultimately, I've said this before. It's just ultimately, I see this going horribly for Warner Brothers, and the way I see this happening is, honestly, at this point, I do see them dropping the DCU. This makes it even more obvious for me. Tavia says, like what is Zaslav planning with all these movies being tax write-offs? None of that makes sense. The justification that I could see, at least, is so Warner Bros. Is like really, 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 really in debt because of like all the BS decisions of the previous regime. So Zaslav is probably thinking, if I write off a bunch of these movies as tax write-offs, I can save money. So it's like, if he thinks that that'll allow him to save money, he's probably like, okay, you know what? I'll take the reputational loss. And honestly, here's the thing. Yeah, it's his objective to sell his company to another. That's really also probably what it is. But here's the thing, though. If you really want to sell the company, and Lance back, and we have one more person joining us, so let me welcome them.
Flame on! How's everybody doing tonight?
What's up,
JJheat?
So, what do you think about the Acme movie being axed, my friend?
To be fair, I'm not surprised. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not really surprised of Zaslav doing tax write-off, but again, I'm new to this story, so I don't really see a reason why it couldn't work. But I could see why. Hey, the Looney Tunes aren't as big of an IP as they used to be. So, and we already had that Space Jam remake a few years ago. Let's hold off on this.
No, but here's the thing. Then the movie should not have been signed off on in the beginning. The thing about it, my opinion on this, JJheat, is that when Batgirl got canceled, I could have supported that because it's like he comes in and he cleans up the old regime and is like, okay, you know what? We're done. We're not dealing with the new regime's baggage. The Flash is there. We need that to reboot the universe. Let's just get rid of Batgirl. I get that. He kept doing it. That's the thing. He kept writing off companies. And here's the thing. David makes a good point. He goes, come back to Warner Brothers and make us some tax write-offs. I mean, films. Of course, we release films. I got it. Dave says, as a comics fan, I was excited for a lot of it announced DCU films, but I have zero faith they will actually happen. Yeah, no matter your opinion on James Gunn, under Zaslav, it's probably not going to happen.
It depends on how Superman Legacy performs. Best case scenario, you might at least get chapter 1 in its entirety.
But JJheat, Superman, he could pull the plug on Superman. I'm just saying he could pull the plug on it.
To be fair, you could make the argument that Superman, or at least everything with the PR and the campaigns on social media, you could argue Superman Legacy is so far along they at least need to have a teaser done to actually show that they actually stick to something and make it work. It just depends how far the money's been chugging along. And yes, that was a poor choice of words.
Yes, it was. Hey, what's up? Neck name. Yeah, it's still, I don't think it's going to happen. I just... See, here's the thing, and Lad and I were just talking about this. Years of battle scars against WB have added up. I have zero faith that it's going to happen. And then Tevi asked a good question. What's going to happen with the gaming division? Remember, James Gunn recently walked back on his statement saying everything's going to be tied in.
He did recently do that. Now, again, this could go one or two scenarios with the gaming division. Either scenario A, the gaming division gets licensed off to help trim the fat that is Warner Brothers over 60% in debt / bankruptcy, or B, it's just going to be consolidated in part of another sale to Universal if Zaslav decides to wipe his hands with Warner Brothers and DC altogether.
Honestly, again, I could see him honestly. I'm gonna make a Jared prediction based upon the trajectory of this company. And, I only make Jared predictions if I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. WB will be sold in this year. Ooh. Or at least they'll announce a sale this year.
So you think Zaslav is just about done at this point?
I think he's done. And I think all of this is prep for the sale. Randy says they need to find a way to restore confidence in the studio somehow. That's a long way. Honestly, under the leadership, I can't see them doing that. And honestly, I'm going to say this right now. WB does not deserve the DC brand. They do not. They do not deserve to have the legendary IPs that they have because they abuse them and do not use them properly. I wouldn't be surprised at all if James Gunn walks away from his position before Lexi starts filming. Yeah, and by the way, he almost did when this movie got pulled. So I think that's another likely scenario. He could say, you know what? To Dave's point and to JJheat's points and Nick's and Lad's points, he could say, I don't know if this movie's actually going to be released. Why am I doing this? And then guess what? We're right back to where we started before James Gunn announced the movies.
Yeah.
I thought that was appropriate.
That is an appropriate joke. Thank you. They don't deserve any of the... Yeah, exactly. They really don't. But anyway, I think that's a good place to leave this topic. Let's talk about it. So I have a very special thing. And Lad, I'm actually glad you're here for this one because what did you guys think of the trailer for Knuckles?
I'm excited for it, but sorry, I'm glad Knuckles is getting more attention because if Sonic 3 is going to go the way we think Sonic 3 is going to go,
shout out
Shadow's gonna body him. I'm sorry. It's a trope as old as time. And you
Lad,
have-
did you hear the rumor that Hayden Christensen is going to voice Shadow?
Yeah, that'd be so awesome.
That's too obvious. That's too obvious.
I'm telling you, dude. I want Shadow to learn the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise.
Oh,
Too
boy.
obvious.
That absolutely needs to happen. James Gunn co-wrote and produced. Hey, there he is. This Looney Tunes movie. It's his project. Shelving deleting is a slap in the face. Yeah, exactly. There you go. But
It is his vanity project. Not gonna lie.
But so back to Knuckles. I'm glad that Sonic is getting like a cinematic universe, because here's the thing: Sonic has been that one IP that I think really, really, really needed it. It really needed a boost.
Because
guys
Sonic
think?
has been stagnant for the past decade because they've kind of had a series of rise and falls. The first big collapse of the Sonic IP, I want to say, was Sonic 06, which was the 15th anniversary game. And that's because production was rushed on that. If they delayed that game by another 6 months, it would have done a lot better. I that's a blazing prediction right there. I will tell you that right now.
Well, here's the thing: there's a lot that could have been improved with that movie, like not making Silver OP, so when I'm fighting him as Sonic or Shadow, I don't get thrown about everywhere.
He's basically future Trunks. I mean, Sonic is Goku, Tails is Krillin, Rouge the Bat is Bulma, Amy is Chi-Chi. Am I the only one seeing this?
Yeah, I see
Remember,
that.
for the people that haven't watched Dragon Ball, try using less Dragon Ball references. The only two animes I have watched in their entirety, for the most part, is Attack on Titan and Yu-Gi-Oh!
Wait, which Yu-Gi-Oh? Because there's
The
Yu-Gi-Oh!
OG,
GX.
the OG, not GX. I hate because the minute they start saying you could duel on motorcycles, I'm like, what in the name of what is this?
Oh,
But actually, you know what?
merchandising.
No. Here's me watching Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Are you ready? I actually have a perfect clip for this.
What is this?
That is the appropriate response, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But back to our main topic. I'm just surprised they actually got Idris Elba to actually reprise the role for the miniseries. I thought this would be standalone and then Idris Elba would do the movies. Like, I really thought that going into this.
Yeah.
That is correct, Davey Impaler. That is correct.
Yeah, Silver
That
is future Trunks. See, here's the thing. I like Silver. That's the thing. I really, really, really like Silver as a character. The problem is he wasn't using the game properly. He is so broken because when you do the race mode in the game, you can use your psychic powers to just hold your opponent at the starting gate and just run ahead. And there's no like range or anything like that. You could just hold them there and just run.
Until your
That's what I
gauge
used to
runs
do.
out, but that's a separate conversation.
That's what I used to do, though. I used to like hold them there and go like, stay, run.
Yeah, I do not see Silver making an appearance because if they adapt Sonic 06, that's a brand killer. I'm sorry. You would have to completely overhaul the story of that game to make it remotely salvageable. I'm just saying.
Yeah. But anyway, back to the series. Rogue the Bat is also an Android 18 kind of.
That's not really a fair comparison.
But anyway,
that's
back to the series. Again, see, here's the thing. How good does that CGI look, though?
Pretty solid. Definitely
My
solid.
one problem with it looks like a repeat of the Sonic movie.
It does.
It literally looks like that. I'm like, so the warrior finds the human and the human they literally recreate shots. I'm like, what the hell?
It's basically Knuckles versus Whiplash instead of Eggman. I mean, seriously.
So you're telling me that scientist is going to try and find his bud?
You just had to make it weird.
I had to. Is Knuckles going to bust his bunker with the ex-wife? Hammer Tech?
Try to keep this PG, Jared. Jesus.
Oh, they literally recreate also that line from Sonic 2. Do I look like I need your power? I'm
No,
like,
I really
Yeah,
liked the trailer. Like, I thought it was. I'm just surprised they actually willing to do like a TV show with the characters in it, but it did seem a little bit just a retread of the first movie, but with Knuckles and a different sidekick human.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, I'm willing to yeah, Ken Punish is calling his lawyer. Obviously I'm gonna watch it because I've liked every Sonic thing, particularly if it's gonna lead into the Shadow movie. Yes, I'm calling Sonic 3 the Shadow movie because Shadow is gonna outsell Sonic. That's happening. I'm sorry. That is gonna happen because Shadow is the cooler hedgehog.
That's debatable.
Actually, no, it's not because
What's up, Brown Destroyer?
What's up, Brown Destroyer? Hi, what did we discuss today? So we talked briefly about the Warner Brothers canceling the Acme movie. We're talking about the Knuckles trailer, but if you want, we can move on.
The last thing I want to talk about the Knuckles trailer is that I hope this actually does decent for Paramount. They could really use the win for their streaming service. And please, and I heavily insist this, do not tease Shadow at the end. I get it's a cool moment.
They
it's a good
probably
post-credit scene.
They probably
Just don't do it. If you
That'd be
do it,
bad.
you'll kill any momentum for the movie because Shadow deserves his own gravitas and arguably his own film.
Now, I will say this about Paramount. I watched the first 2 episodes of Halo Season 2. Where were these writers in Season 1?
Oh,
This
we're
is
switching into
so
Halo
much
now.
It's still not perfect, but this is
It's
so
an
much
improvement.
better.
It could be
Well,
better.
Nick, I mean, well, that's a Freudian slip. You can't, JJheat, you can't improve that much on a dumpster. You really can't. Because let's be honest, Season 1 was pretty much a dumpster fire.
Velma was a dumpster fire.
The minute he takes off his helmet and then proceeds to have sex with a Covenant spy, that's a dumpster fire.
That's more like unsalvageable at that point because
I mean, it just I didn't watch the show myself. I heard Jared's reactions from it. It just
I only
seemed
saw
like
clips, not gonna lie.
they completely missed the point of the series or the video game series. I mean, I heard season 2 was a little better, but I don't know.
And to answer your question, Dave the Impaler, that's more exclusive to Sonic the Hedgehog, the video game. Sonic 3 is going to be an adaptation of Sonic Adventure 2.
Yeah.
Mhm.
People like Pokemon with guns and power, so I have Shadow with his gun. I know!
Like I said, they're strictly going to adapt Sonic Adventure 2 because you could... Okay, you know what? I'm just going to drop the pretense. They're trying to keep a PG rating as much as possible. The moment you give Shadow guns, it goes straight to PG-13 and up.
Plus, do you really think in a kids movie they're gonna Hollywood is gonna glorify firearms? Do you really think that?
Let's not get political, Jared. Let's
Even though it works for the character, I'm not getting political. I'm saying Hollywood does not like anything that glorifies guns. Look at what they did with the Punisher.
To each their own on that one. I'm just going to leave you to your own opinion.
Thank you. But I'm just like, yeah. And by the way, Tevia, that's my other problem with the series, but more on that. So let's move on to, so we have 2 other topics.
Transition.
Actually, 3 other, actually, no, 2 other topics. So do you guys want to discuss how we would make a Justice League game or our biggest comic book hot takes?
Biggest comic book hot takes. Let's just get it out the way.
All right.
Hot takes,
all right.
hot takes.
And lad, you're going to love this transition. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to go around and we're going to each give a hot take. And by the way, everyone in the chat, please participate in this. We would love to have you. So my number 1 hot take is that Lois Lane is a horrible character, needs to go away. Actually, it's not that much of a hot take if a lot of people agree with me, but that's besides the point. My other hot take is that Tomasi should be kept away from Superman.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Truth arc.
That fair point. Touche.
Thank you.
Touche.
Superman, Wonder Woman, New 52, volumes 3 through 5.
To be fair, Tomasi only took over in the latter half of volume 3. Like, I think it was like 2 issues.
No. He's from the very beginning.
Oh. Well, damn, there goes my argument.
Because there's no way Charles Sewell wrote those crappy issues. Because I have the other 2 Charles Sewell books. I have the first one graded and signed by Sewell.
Boy.
But
What a-
my
what a
third
vision.
hot take is that Batman should kill the Joker. Because at this point, Batman
Oh,
is
no.
equally responsible for all the people that the Joker killed because he puts them in Arkham knowing he's going to break out and kill more people. Atchison
Take it
says-
easy, Frank Miller. Calm down.
Hot take, DC headquarters needs to get out of Cali. Everyone needs to be fired. Yeah, nice. No, Zeke. No.
Yeah. I agree with Zeke.
Wait.
Batman doesn't do ships.
Zeke, this is for you.
No. No.
Oh, it looks like JJheat had an interjection.
Stop it, JJheat. If you do that, I will put you in timeout.
Okay. We need to talk about the Batman Joker thing. I 100% agree Batman should just take out the Joker at this point, but
Just the Joker. I'm not saying he kills everyone. And by the way, I know we're talking about Under the Red Hood tomorrow. There's no way that if Batman killed one guy, the Joker, he's going to get a taste for killing. He's not going to stop. Because if he's that close, he shouldn't be Batman.
the thing
Allow
is
me.
that we know the real reason is that they can't let Batman kill the Joker
Because Joker makes money.
that's true.
Yeah. Let's see. What's another good one?
Because I feel like we can't move on unless I do this. Bruce, I forgive you for not saving me. But why? Why on God's earth is he still alive?
Under the Red Hood, baby. Exactly. That's my point. Jason is
good.
right in that. Alan Moore is an overrated author. He understands the comic media on a technical level, but his stories are mediocre and mostly just tired deconstructionist pastiche. That's a hot
To an
take.
extent. To an extent.
Actually, to build off of Dave, Dan Jurgens is an overrated writer. Because let me tell you the way his Superman stories normally go. I have to make some reference to Death of Superman because that's the storyline I'm known for.
And kicked off your career.
And kicked off my career. So all of my stories have to reference Doomsday in some way. Or the Death of Superman. And I'm like,
No
get
matter
some
how
other
subtle or
material.
tact.
Tevia, that is a steaming hot take. But another hot take, the universe needs to be rebooted. Thoughts, gentlemen?
I agree with that.
I agree because say what you will about the New 52 okay. First of all, I'm just gonna drop nostalgia. You might want to solo me, Jared, because this needs to be said.
And Super Wonder should be the ultimate universe for DC. I could do that. I would take that.
New Direction versus Randall, but that's a separate
New
point.
Direction, yes. Okay.
But
wait, hang on. I will solo you. Hang on. I'm trying to get this to work right.
okay, thank you. Okay, first, say what you will about the nostalgia of the New 52. If the New 52 was actually planned out, actually mapped out for an extended period of time, it would have done decently. And commercially, it did do well. It was the blank slate a lot of people needed for casuals to help build up and secure a new generation of comic book fans. From a corporate standpoint and a business standpoint, it did what it was supposed to do. But it was poor planned, mismanaged, and it crashed and burned within the span of 5 years. Now, I will concede, Future's End and everything with DCYOU during those 6 months was inexcusable.
I think it was still redeemable until you got Future's End and like all those BS storylines. I think if they had not done those stories, there would be no legitimate reason to get rid of the New 52.
And let me go ahead and say this right now for our New Direction verse. The only reason we agreed to keep Convergence is because we needed a crisis story or a crisis type story as a transition point.
And we needed some way to get Coward, Superman, and John into the universe. Yes, I'm calling that. So, lad, the reason why I call him Coward Superman, so you know the whole post-crisis Superman was hanging out in the New 52 the whole time, right?
Yeah, that whole weird thing.
So my question is, they did a book that's like tracing what was he doing during the entire New 52, and I'm like, he didn't show up when the Anti-Monitor invaded, or like when the Crime Syndicate showed up and said we killed the Justice League. He didn't do anything. This is the Superman who fought the Anti-Monitor in Crisis.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Who Supergirl died in that crisis. So I'm like, wait a second here. This doesn't work.
As a self-contained story of a recent superpowered dad who like takes the backseat to create a safe environment for his kid, I'll give them that.
Well, not only
But
that, there's a tornado, and instead of stopping the tornado, which Superman totally could, he hides in the basement with his family. I know Zeke is trying to troll me, but JJheat, there's a tornado, and instead of trying to stop the tornado, he hides in the bunker with his family.
So
Superman, the dude that could stop tornadoes.
So is this more of a Man of Steel situation, or was Clark briefly depowered after merging into?
No, he wasn't. He had his powers, except it's less legitimate than Man of Steel. Because guess what? No one held up their hands and told him to stop.
Maybe there was like kryptonite tornado or something. Maybe
there's no kryptonite tornado, lad. Stop it. Stop
Don't give him an excuse. He's just gonna rant.
Ultimately, the new 50 wasn't that bad. Most people only hate it because they can the old. That's why.
Nostalgia is a factor. I will give you that accent. Nostalgia
is it's the prime factor, and that's why like some people don't call the new 52 fake Superman. And I'm like, he's not the real Superman. Batman's hard no-kill rule is dumb because realistically he kills people all the time through complications of injuries, head trauma, pre-existing conditions, and environmental factors. He throws batarangs that get stuck in people.
A lot of that could boil down to collateral damage and Gotham being a criminal cesspool in of itself.
According to Batman's own kill rule, he killed them.
He could just not save people instead.
I won't save you, but I don't have to. I won't kill you, but I don't have to save you. Yeah. What was that logic, by the way? I'm like, what the heck is that?
I feel like that was just but that's another topic for a different day.
What were you gonna say, lad?
No, that's another topic. Go ahead, JJheat.
As I was saying, again, even with Convergence, it's basically a crisis standard because I used to have a rule of having a crisis event every 5 to 10 years. And now with both Dark Knight's Metal, Death Metal, and Dark Crisis back to back, I'm pretty sure all three were within that said 5-year span. Not like seriously, they're really grinding to a halt at this point. And I feel like a prompt reboot, just wipe the slate clean, would be the ideal way to go. But if you still have storylines left in development, you're still trying to meet with your editors and these contracts, I get the alleged DC Ultimate Universe is a good compromise. It's essentially an Elseworld story, but it's a relative compromise while your current writers are still in contract.
It's an ongoing Elseworlds is really what it is, as opposed to like doing a limited 2-issue thing. But putting the Watchmen in the main continuity was dumb and I hated it. Yeah, they don't work with the main. Here's the problem with Doomsday Clock. They made it like there's this ongoing story, like the everyone's suspicious of superheroes because it's like there's a thesis going out that claims like the U.S. government is creating their own
Superman theory.
That never showed up. Only in that book.
Because editorial decided to go into an edgier direction, and we got Dark Knight's Metal and Death Metal.
No, I know, but they should have told Jeff, you can't do that because we didn't set this up. Because apparently Doomsday Clock is canon.
Oh, boy.
I won't kill you, but I have to save you from the brain hemorrhage caused by a roundhouse kick to you in the head with steel-toed boots. It's like you can't tell me that when Matt Reeves' Batman is punching people's heads into the pavement, he's not killing them. Canon Batman already killed people, like kicking people out of a skyscraper or bursting a helicopter full of bad guys. Do you know what he did? There was this great Golden Age Batman story where he's swinging across the building. A criminal is leaning out, looking up, sees him, and Batman just kicks his neck and breaks his neck.
Those were more noir cult stories. But yes.
He hung someone from the Batwing. Like he wrapped a rope around someone's neck, attached it to the Batwing, and then took off and flew away. There was another time he flies by and just shoots people.
Again, these were Golden Age stories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And yeah.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do my hot take.
So, JJheat, what's your hot take about DC?
The John Kent age up was salvageable as a concept. Now, I know that sounds sacrilege coming from me, but in theory, it could have worked. Because this is a character who's a legacy character of a more prominent one, can barely stand on his own 2 feet, and has little to no branding synergy or IP momentum to save his life. A change was necessary. Now, I wouldn't have gone as drastic as suddenly turning him 17 after an Elseworld space adventure where he's tortured by Ultraman. I wouldn't have been that drastic. But I definitely see that it could have worked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they could have done that. They could have salvaged it if they put a competent writer. And yes, I called He Who Must Not Be Named incompetent as a writer, because at this point, he kind of is. Have you read his Superman run? It's brutal. Honestly, I want more Lantern Corps stories outside the... That's cool. Hey, that's a book Tomasi wrote well. Lanterns.
We really need more. How many ongoing Lantern storylines are there?
2.
There's Hal Jordan. The main Green Lantern story is telling the story of Hal Jordan, which I'm following. It's on my pull list. And then the other one that's on my pull list is Green Lantern War Journal, which is following John Stewart.
Hmm. Okay. Okay.
But
So they have the
we
2
need
main
one-
ones.
We need one that's just the core.
Yeah. There's so many
Those
that
are-
it's such a missed opportunity.
That's what the Jeff Johns run did. Is the main Green Lantern story was covering just Hal, and then the Green Lantern Corps book was covering the Green Lantern Corps. That's why you have
Post-Crisis-
people. I'm sorry. Go ahead, JJheat. Yes.
I was just
Post-
reading Randy's comment.
Yeah,
but
post-crisis rebirth appeals to an older audience that is shrinking. You need younger audiences. Yeah, exactly. That's why. This is post-crisis new 52 Well, yeah, I know that Batman killed, but I was just saying in the golden age as well that Batman has killed. And Tevia, you can't have 2 John Kents. You just can't. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. That wouldn't work.
And even if you factor that, I know I'm playing devil's advocate here, but even if you factor that, it's like any opportunity to actually give John that development in relation to his trauma, they skipped over. Like, hey, I get we need to justify aging up this character to give him some nuance or any kind of development, but I think you kind of took it a little too far, and we need to abandon this as soon as possible. We could, or we can chase hot headlines and get a cheap shelf title out of it.
Because that's
to which you
they
did
all
and
that
quickly
stuff.
tanked in less than 1 volume.
Suck it, Taylor. It worked
Just-
for Wally
just
West,
saying.
but no, because
Just saying.
Wally West had time as the Flash. It wasn't like they just put him in there. Barry was
Even-
dead. There was no other option.
Even if we factored pre-Christ, even leading up to Christ on Infinite Earths in 1985, Wally had set up to rise to the occasion and directly work with Barry for 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We have
That's
2
including
Wallys.
Flash comics and Titans.
But Tevia, here's the difference. I'm gonna be very frank with you. The difference between the 2 Wallys is that they're different races. Let me put it to you that way.
Where are you going with this, Jared?
What I mean is that it's easier to differentiate the 2, and that's most likely one of the justifications. In addition to the fact, if they got rid of New 52 Wally, there would be backlash of DC calling them race. And to tell you, don't tell me DC doesn't care about backlash, because they definitely do. Did Superman bring back Krypton yet, or make a new one? Well,
Not that I know of.
In the Kneel Before Zod book, he runs a planet and calls it New Kandor, I believe.
And
That's-
yes, there was a relative downgrade on Wonder Woman Rebirth because I believe it was I forget the creator's name, but the New 52 Wonder
Greg
Woman was
Rucka.
Greg Rucka, thank you. He kind of wanted to deviate from the God of War aspects of the New 52 Wonder Woman run, which is understandable.
No, he wanted to completely screw the New 52. And here's the problem with this. So he made this idea that Wonder Woman's never been home. How about the times when Superman showed up on Themyscira? All right, what's up, Britt? And by Britt, if you want to join us, I'll send you the link. Just let me know.
John Kent's purpose was just to be a young Clark for 5G while turning Clark into a dictator. 5G was dead on arrival, and so was the purpose of John. To an extent, I will give you that. Despite now, the 5G baggage did ultimately derail everyone. Yeah, but that's a different topic for a different day.
Azarella's Wonder Woman 1 is better. I haven't read all of it. I've read like a couple of I've read like a trade of it, and I already enjoy it more because it comes across as less like screw the old stuff, but it comes as like we're trying to embrace everything. That's the thing. Brown says, I'm gonna say that entire DC Comics in 2023 was was 10,000 times worse than the new 52. Yes, exactly. Yeah, not the entire run. Not the entire run, because Green Lantern and Superman is actually pretty good. Batman, you have a little bit more of an argument with Gotham War and all that stuff. Rebirth, for the most part, is utter crap. I'm just gonna tell you that right now.
It did have good. It did have goodwill with the fan base, and it did outsell Marvel at the time.
Yeah, but it didn't outsell the new 52. And counterpoint, yet it's not that hard to outsell Marvel when Marvel is pissing off their own fan base.
Again, I will not concede it's a low bar. Don't get me wrong.
Who was talking about the DCU era? No one brought that up.
I brought that up briefly with New Direction verse, and even then that was just to make a point.
Yeah, we're not bringing that up. All right. So, yeah. Rebirth was very worse. So, Lad, what's a hot take that you have? And be serious.
I've got a hot take. No.
Where's I'm prepping my clip.
No, don't worry. It's Marvel side, so you're safe.
Oh, okay.
Biggest hot take here, gonna steaming hot take, is that the current run of Spider-Man is great. Paul is a great character, and Spider-Man should always be miserable.
All right, so we're never having Lad back. I'm like, yeah.
To be fair, way, I wouldn't blame you.
Ultimate Spider-Man outsell the Zeb Wells run this month.
No, I'm just kidding, everyone.
That was not hard to do. That was not hard to do.
Kite Man does not need his own series.
No, okay, fine. I gotta say, cold take then is that Spider-Man really needs to be able to. They should drop for maybe like 5-10 years, drop the whole miserable, like teenage attitude act in the Spider-Man comics, make him more of like a self-reliant hero who's actually growing to the challenge instead of being like, woe is me all the time. From what I've read, the latest comics, he's not too great.
Yeah.
Then what would be the point of Miles Morales?
That is true, though.
Have Peter retire or like put
Peter's the original and has a much stronger IP. They're never going to let Peter retire. Not realistic.
Here's an idea. Put Miles in his own freaking universe. That's when he worked.
I really want Miles to be the teenage Spider-Man and Peter to really, he doesn't need to grow up and be like a full-grown adult, but to really be a little more mature, And they can always go back and kind of like scale their ages back a little bit in a few years if, they want to go back to Peter Parker. But, I think the opportunity is there. They just need to, I think they're leaning into it a little bit from what I've seen, but, just take some time.
That's a good point, Ian. And I had a lot of video projects and Miles Morales with Insomniac was one of them. I did have a lot of projects that got delayed, but even going into that video, I go into detail like saying Miles Morales, it's not John Kent bad. Let me say that because he did have the original Ultimate Universe and Miles was able to come into his own. So let me not take that away from him. But the moment you brought him mainline or mainstream, Miles just becomes redundant. And you did not try to rebrand this character. You gave him a small addition of powers he already had. Even when you brought him into the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon from the Disney acquisition, there was a whole 5 to 7 year period where they barely did anything with Miles. He was strictly default. And if he did have any character development, it was either reused plot points that Peter went through or there were ensembles. But am I wrong? Am I wrong?
My hot take. I should, go ahead, Lad.
Miles really does need his own villains and his own like characters and storylines that isn't just using Peter's ones. And there's definitely over the last like 5 years, Miles become more and more popular, especially with the films. He's become very big and mainstream. And I think it's pretty obvious to most people that the next Spider-Man after Tom Holland is going to be a Miles Morales adaptation. Like, I think there's no doubt about it. But,
not at all. Not at all.
People are so excited. He's so popular right now with all the kids. And like, I know I have a lot of younger siblings and they all loved the movies and thought he was such an interesting character. They just really need to take this time as they're gearing up to grow him to come up with some really good storylines and make him very unique compared to Peter and be able to make them both exist in the universe, because I think there's definitely room for both of them.
There are. And Lad, I have one thing to say to that. Biotin's fade.
Oh no.
I had to bring that up because Brown brought up the Thor comic. That was brutal. I'm like, why did you do that, Marvel? Why did you do
there
that?
was a brief window of illusion where I forgot those series of comics exist. Thank you.
I'll never let anyone forget that Marvel was that stupid. And they wonder why I liked DC more.
Oh man. Didn't they do the same thing for like Gwen? Also got like a Gwenverse thing.
She did. By the way, Lad, you know how much I hate Secret Empire, right?
That's right.
That literally is the reason why I don't want to JJheat. Explain to Lad why you don't read Marvel anymore.
Oh no.
Captain America saying "Hail Hydra."
Oh really? The meme.
Not even the meme, just and okay, if this was supposed to be a self-contained aspect, especially tying it from Civil War II, great, solid. If you had a decent ending, but this literally feels like Marvel's version of Armageddon 2001, where the original ending got leaked and then they had to scramble to make a new one to subvert expectations, and it fell so hard on its face.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't look at Marvel the same afterward.
No.
I literally felt like I was reading Armageddon 2001 all over again, but as an adult.
I love the meme that came out of that with like Spider-Man going, I hate chimichangas, and Peter saying, screw responsibility.
JJheat, on your point, I didn't even read Secret Empire myself, but I was kind of like aware of the comic when it was coming out, and I was so confused of how they pivoted, because it very much seemed like they were saying this is so Captain America, it's definitely him, it's not a clone, and they were just emphasizing, and then they completely switched up, and I, even as a complete person from the outside, just kind of checking out the story as it went on because it was interesting, the news of it, it made no sense to me. It seemed like they pivoted. Like, I don't know what happened.
Funny, lad? You know what's funny, lad? You know, when the media was covering it, I think it was like CBR, when CBR was covering that the last issue of Secret Empire, the first words in their article was, surprising no one, Steve is not really a Nazi.
Yeah.
I'm like, at that point, that's also because I don't know if you remember this, lad, but we briefly talked about Secret Empire on like the early Under Two Capes episodes. And the thing I always said about it, it works as an Elseworld. It should have been an Elseworld. Because then I don't care. Because then do whatever you want. Make him all the time a Hydra agent.
Oh, what if?
What if? That can work.
Yeah.
Like seriously, if this was if Secret Empire was self-contained, completely on the offset, no one would have lashed out nowhere near as badly.
As much as I hate Injustice, at least that's an Elseworlds. All right, so Randy brings up a cold take on the show. Hot take for Clovis fans. Okay, so it's a hot take for them, a cold take.
Mid.
Wonder Woman is a genuine, strong, and independent woman who can survive on her own merit, while Lois needs to leech off of Superman in order to be relevant. All right, so lad, did you see that when I was streaming Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, whenever Lois would show up on the TV, I would shoot the TV?
Two counterpoints. One, despite Wonder Woman being one of the Trinity, she has the weakest IP out of the three. And melding her and pairing her with Superman, at least from a business standpoint, would bind her strictly to the Superman brand and pretty much make her redundant. Yes, it was intriguing and over 100,000 in sales.
I'm not talking about sales. I'm just talking about this book made them both equals. It wasn't like she was like Wonder Woman's. She wasn't Superman's girlfriend, Wonder Woman. I think that honor belongs to Lois.
You're referring more to like the sales numbers, right, JJheat? Or we're talking like the popularity.
Yes, like I said, from a business standpoint, popularity-wise, with a good creative team, anyone can make it work. I mean, the New 52 is perfect proof of that. But in terms of long-term sales and long-term business, and you actually have, it's not the best idea IP and brand wise. You could use it for like a quick mini series or a sales boost, but hardly anyone in the business would do it long term. Mm-hmm. That's probably why they jumped at the chance to break up Superman and Wonder Woman as fast as they did. Now, was hiring Tomasi to do it a sabotage job? Possibly. Yeah, I won't refute that from him.
It was. Because he admitted as much. He tweeted that was the plan.
Boy, what I think
But
Wonder
Jared's
Woman,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say I think Wonder Woman seriously lacks good storylines. I know we've discussed it every now and then, but
We
I
kind
just
of
can't even name like a single one other than like the snapping Maxwell Lord's neck or something like
Infinite
that.
I
Crisis.
mean, there's the George Perez run. We also have I don't know why no one's talked about the Tom King run.
Oh no.
And
I'm
for you,
reading it.
okay. You know what? I
Wait,
I
wait,
know I
wait. I'm starting to check out because the minute so he shows a flashback to Wonder Woman in the contest lad, and one of the things to make it edgy, so he like intersperses it with like the past and like showing like Wonder Woman's daughter in the same contest. So apparently Wonder Woman punched her mother in the face during the contest.
Oh boy.
I swear, Tom King has some serious mommy issues. Hot take: the concept of the Trinity has always felt forced and insincere. You know why? It wasn't until like early 2000s that there was even a Trinity book. It was never a thing.
It was more for branding. It was never really
Yeah.
taken seriously. Not
No, it
until the
wasn't.
2000s.
I really enjoyed the Black Label Wonder Woman book. Oh, Dead Earth. Yes. Dead Earth. No.
That's not a hot take, Tevye. That's obvious.
That's not a
But
hot
Yeah, go ahead.
But as I was saying, like I said, again, even with the New Direction version, one of the biggest success of that project between me and Jared is the Super Wonder fans. And to all my fans in general, regardless of your preferences, I appreciate the support. Let me say
I have
that.
an entire show about this pairing.
But even with that, it still doesn't change the fact that Wonder Woman does not have solid, iconic storylines past the Silver Age and mostly the Golden Age. Once the
Brit.
Bronze Age hit, Wonder Woman's storytelling outside of a rare few stagnated
So
and have
Brit
been an
says
accelerant decline.
the only reason why Diana's IP is weak is because her ideals are challenging for writers. It's the same
And that
reason.
may be a fair point, Britt. I'd be happy to debate you on that on a collapse sometime. That may be a solid point, but it still doesn't change the fact that you have writers like Joel Jones and even Tom King with his personal biases having either lackluster storylines at best and blatantly ripping off animated adaptations with creative teams who did it a lot better, i.e. Fury from Justice League, a lot. Am I the only one seeing the writing on the wall on this?
Mm-mm. Oh, you're telling me Tom King copied from other stories? Where has he done that before? Maybe in the Wonder Woman Batman story, he literally took from a Superman story.
We really an episode, maybe Comic League Dark or something, is we sit down and brainstorm storylines for Wonder Woman. Like, what would we have for something for her?
Britt, when we do that, you have to be on this panel. But JJheat, Superman and Wonder Woman had more story potential because they're not human. You could do with them story-wise that with the only limitation is the writers. What he mean? Yeah.
And here's my counterpoint to that.
Yeah.
Where's the intrigue? Where's the danger? Where's the tension? If both are on equal footing all the time, you don't have a story in terms of the typical narrative structure.
I'm gonna go away from that because remember, Zod and Feora show up in the first volume and they fight Kryptonians. That's the danger in the intrigue.
That's a power match, and they balance each other out.
He turns into Doomsday, and Wonder Woman has to almost kill him.
Talk about couple goals, ladies and gentlemen.
This isn't Harley Quinn, the Joker, JJheat.
Thank you. I'm here all week.
JJheat, is your concern with it more of it can work for a limited run but can't go for like an ongoing series, or what?
Thank you, Ian. That's all I'm saying. In terms, at least in terms of a business.
His name is Lad.
Lad, excuse me.
Were you calling me Ian this entire time?
It's a long day. It's a long day.
Tom King said she's harder to write because she is a contradiction as ambassador in peace and warrior. Well,
no, it's because Wonder Woman has been stereotyped as a typical warrior woman for decades on end, even though it's supposed to be more of a balance than that. If you want an example of a typically female warrior character, Shira Hall's version of Hawkwoman.
Oh, you mean Wonder Woman from Justice League because Bruce Timm can't write any other characters?
You are really not going to let that go?
No, I'm not. I'm not. That's a piss poor version of Wonder Woman.
What, from the JLU and jail?
Yeah.
Don't get him started.
Too much like a violent sociopath by Atchison, and that's why Wonder Bat doesn't work. That's not actually Wonder Woman. Like Atchison says, I think Superman and Wonder Woman could go long term. It's just DC is too chicken to do it. I agree.
With the momentum they had at the time, yes, I could easily, if Tomasi wasn't there to sabotage the book, I could easily see them going for another 2 years. But eventually, once the initial intrigue wears off, it's going to have diminishing returns. Then the only way to keep it going is if you actually commit to the bid. Have Wonder Woman appear in Action Comics more. Have Superman appear in Wonder Woman comics
They
more.
did do that. They both showed up in each other's books. Not like a lot, because otherwise they take over that book. But it was like they showed up enough because they're dating. Superman has to show up in Wonder Woman's book if he's dating her, and vice versa. So they did do that.
But given their history, it's just, if you're actually going to have a renew your vows type situation, or the marriage of Superman and Wonder Woman, you really have to commit to the bid going forward. You can't just rely on the next crisis to backtrack just to placate a vocal minority.
I'm telling you, all you got to do is take out Lois and you're good to go. That's all you need to do. It's not that hard. Britt says the conflict between Clark and Diana is much more of their background perspective. There's nothing much long-term with Lois. It's just there and repeating the same tropes and plotlines. Plus, when you look at the covers, it's always the same image. Superman flying, holding Lois. It's always that same image.
And I'll probably go into my own respective video on Lois Lane. But if you actually...
Lois Lane?
The best... I'll let you have that, since that is your show, Jared. I'll let you have that. But even if I were to factor all that, something like Kingdom Come, where Lois is actually directly killed off and it's done in a wholesome way and not used to justify an edgy video game, that's probably the best way something like this could work.
Yeah, Brown says it's not necessary to have Super Wonder, but a new girl in place of Lois Lane. Lois Lane is holding Superman back. I agree. That's
good counterpoint, Brown Destroyer. Good counterpoint.
Some of the points I made in my Lois Lane sucks video that just came out this week. Thank you. It's like, actually, I can actually show this image right now, because I went to my local comic book store again today, and I got the entire trade for the Warworld saga.
Oh.
So what I'm going to show you here is the exact moment where I lost all respect for Lois Lane as a character.
That actually could have worked, actress and Superman and Maxima. That actually could have worked.
That actually could have worked. I would have dug that. Anyone but Lois Lane. There's this image here that I can vividly remember saying, so? All right, here we go. I'm pulling it up.
Wait, it's not the scene I think it is it?
No, what it is she's standing here. There's a bunch of aliens from Warworld about to attack her, and I legit, and I'm not exaggerating, said, so he's gonna save her. Why should I care? And by Britt says Lois doesn't need to have to die either, but with her alive, it shows she doesn't have a purpose if she isn't the love interest. True. Lori Lamaris and Clark Kent is underrated. Oh, and Clark dated the mermaid? Yes, that's right, lad. Superman dated a mermaid in college.
Oh, that's right. You told me about this at one point.
I believe that was in Grant Morrison's Earth 1, if I remember correctly.
No, actually, it was the first time I saw was in Frank's Superman year 1.
Okay, thank you.
Lois and Clark. Yeah, this is how you make this is okay. I'm gonna fix Lois. Are you ready? You don't have to get rid of her. Make it so she's a rival journalist, constantly trying to expose Superman. So Clark has to deal with being Superman and also dealing with a journalist that's constantly. You can even make it where she's getting closer to figuring out who Superman is and exposing him to the world, like she did in the New 52.
So basically, Lex Luthor, but on a minor and more petty scale.
Yes, because that's who Lois Lane is. Hot take: comics were awesome in the 90s, and the collector gimmick stuff wasn't actually that bad. That is a hot take, but
that's not even a hot take. That's arguably true.
That is arguably true. But speaking of gimmicks, I got something else. The book that led to Superman Blue.
Oh no,
we don't talk about that.
Yes, we do. I talk about it. It's my
that's not on the channel. That's not allowed.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
Okay, Frank Miller retold that story in Superman Year 1.
Oh, he did. I was saying that's where I first saw it. I know it existed beforehand, but that's when I was like, What my problem with year one, and Britt brought up a good point that like there was probably another issue in there that they wanted to do, but Superman, Lois Lane, Steve Trevor. Here's my book idea: Lois Lane, Steve Trevor. Subtitle: United in Irrelevancy.
Oh,
The reason why Superman and Wonder Woman works is because you don't have to water down one to make the other look good. True. All right, so back to let's transition to another topic before this goes weird, to our main topic. Let's make a Justice League game, because we know that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League came out, and I've enjoyed it. Taladia enjoyed it. The thing is, and Taladia brought this up on the show last night, what if this is actually a proof of concept that they could do a co-op game, because the next Arkham game is going to be the Justice League? Because they're going to bring the Justice League back. I'm sorry. They've even said that there's even a series of calendars you can find in the world that when you arrange them in the right order, it says, and by the way, the days are marked with bats. It says he will return. Yeah, they're bringing Batman back. But anyway, so how do we make a Justice League? First off, who's going to be the villain of our Justice League game?
It depends. Are we going strictly with the Arkhamverse template, or are we just doing an original story?
You don't have to. You can if you want to, but you don't have to.
Okay, if I had to, I would either go with the Imperium from Justice League, or Brainiac.
Well, I wouldn't do Brainiac this close to Suicide Squad. That's the one thing I will say there. Right,
fair enough.
A good one. Vandal Savage. Make it actually, you can't do the Tower of Babel, because technically Suicide Squad is taking elements for that.
Yeah, and you need an established league to do Tower of Babel. So
you could do Starro. Actually, that could be really fun. You have to like save people from being taken over.
Wait, hot take. Isn't the Imperium basically a condensed version of Starro?
Isn't who?
The Imperium from Justice League. Just a condensed
No, Imperium is just their version of the White Martians.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, Britt just sent me an article relating to Coyote Acme. SXSW expressed interest in programming Coyote versus Acme at the festival, but Warner Brothers refused their request. In other words, they were going to show it at a film festival. The festival.
Why not just license it out?
No, I'm saying they had so many offers to put out the movie, but they wouldn't do it. But that's the point. But anyway, Imperium, yeah, they were basically White Martians without calling them the White Martians. A well-made game based on Crisis on Infinite Earths, level 2 Infinite Crisis, level 3 New 52, and level 4 Rebirth. Can we not have Rebirth? Can we just ignore that? The DC documentary did, which was the best part of it. By the way, Darkseid with the Injustice. Well, you could pull a Snyderverse, have Darkseid manipulating Lex Luthor into creating the Injustice League. And then at the end, it's the villains teaming up with the heroes.
Wouldn't that basically be the premise for Injustice 3? Because Darkseid's the only real villain you have at that point.
Yeah, because you don't have Brainiac. Yeah, probably.
That's basically Injustice 3. I'm sorry. I mean, come on.
But basically, each Crisis in one level. Here's why I'm not digging that. You can't make a Crisis just one mission. Right?
You really can. Now, if you were trying to do a multi-game project similar to what the Arkhamverse did, then yeah, something like that could work.
Yeah, exactly. So, Lad, let me ask you this. What do you think? Who do you think could be a good villain for a Justice League game? Lad? Oh, Lad, you are muted if you're talking. Okay. Well, anyway, JJheat, who do you think would be a good Justice League villain for the movie?
I couldn't get the Imperium or Brainiac, I wouldn't want to do Cat. Could the Cadmus Saga work as a video game though?
You could make Amanda Waller the bad guy if that's real. I see what you're going for. I would just make it so Amanda Waller. you could kind of do what they're doing now in the comics and make Amanda Waller the bad guy that's trying to take out all the metahumans. Particularly if you put this in the Arkham verse, because you could say Suicide Squad killed the Justice League, shook her confidence in any of the superheroes. So she's like, I have to kill you all because what happens if you're taken over again?
Yeah, but that would basically be the Arkhamverse's version of Legacy, where Superman gets brainwashed by Darkseid.
Still, that still works. Keep the because then you need a Watchmen game first, Tavia. You can't just jump.
You need the setup. You need the setup.
Amazo could be a good villain. That could actually work. Because if it's a co-op game, you can make it so the players have to work together in order to beat them. Like they have to use their powers in different combinations. Black Lantern, Blackest Night video game can play the entire Justice League, but focus on the Green Lantern mythos. But you would need a Green Lantern game before that.
Yeah.
We're talking this way. Standalone. All these ideas work for Justice League games.
As sequels.
Yeah, as sequels. You have fantastic ideas. Amanda Waller is already doing that. No, Tevia, that's where I'm getting the idea for that. But Lex is running for president in the Arkhamverse. I didn't catch that.
Wait, I believe there was a reference to Lex Luthor running to President Luthor in the Arkhamverse. I believe it was in Arkham City.
Well, you could say he's a president with no heart.
Low-hanging fruit, Jared.
Yeah, I had to. The minute I see that flash cutscene, I'm like, yeah, I got to grab that. I got to do that. But
and yes, my Beast World event review is coming out in the near future. So you'll have my opinions on that when that comes out.
Yeah. All in all, I mean, now, how would you do? See, here's the thing. You would have to power down a few of these heroes because it's different with the Avengers per se, because with the Avengers, Thor's not that powerful compared to Superman. Well, actually, first off, what are going to be the 4 characters that would make up our Justice League game? So obviously you would have the Trinity. Who's that 4th player?
Has to be Green Lantern.
Okay, yeah, I think you can have some fun with that. And then have you could do it like Ultimate Alliance where you control 4 people, but you can swap them out. So you don't necessarily have to leave characters out.
So a Justice League Unlimited game?
Except no way involving Bruce Timm? Sure. The soundtrack is good, JJheat. I don't want to get copyright strike, but okay. But yeah, but again, how would you handle Superman? Because there are certain characters with DC that you just have to power down for a game.
Wait, there was a Wally West on Earth 2 in the campaign, or was that just?
Yes, there was. There's an average. So in the Suicide Squad game, when you go to Earth 2, so in the game there are graffiti showing the Justice Leaguers, because apparently the whole event happened on Justice Day, kind of like A-Day. So what happens is that there's graffiti out of the Justice League on walls. When you go to Earth 2, it's the redheaded Wally West.
I could believe that.
Which I'm like, that's interesting. Solar Flare. Yeah, you could do that. You could do that. Now, the thing is, I mean, you could just have him be as powered as he was. I reference this game all the time, but just because this was a perfect Superman game, Superman Returns. Because that got the power levels right and it got the invincibility right. So you can still go with that. So in terms of now, the one thing I will say to improve over Suicide Squad, not everyone should use guns, obviously. I mean, have it where Superman uses his fist, Wonder Woman uses the sword and the shield and her lasso, and you could use let's see what else it is. Yeah, exactly, JJheat. You could also have Superman would have to be the most balanced stats and powers. The other members can be more specialized. That way, that way it always should be in the comics. Yeah, exactly.
Because it's too easy to make Superman overpowered, way too easy.
Now you can make Batman rely more on tech and vehicles. He can bring in the Bat plane and he can bring in the Batmobile and stuff. So you would go with that. Tavia, you know what? you know what I was referring to when I was talking about that game. You know what I was I wasn't talking about taking everything from that game. All right. Superman would have to be the most. Yeah, exactly. So, the Invincible Universe versus Justice League. You could do that. That'd be funny. In terms, so and then Wonder Woman would be able to like use like the lasso. What you could do, her traversal is using the lasso, kind of like Harley uses the grapple shot to like swing around. Batman would obviously use his grapple hook, and it would basically be Batman Arkham rules. Green Lantern and Superman would be the flyers. And I'd imagine if we could get away with it, not live service, because obviously that's not going to work. Now, what costumes would you guys want to be in a Justice League game? I say I say all of the previous comic generations, like post-Crisis, obviously New 52. I want to exclude Rebirth, but that would make me a hypocrite, so just put Rebirth in there. Maybe the movie characters. What about you, JJheat?
As for me, I would go for more retro or classic costumes, like the black suit Superman costume, Golden Silver Age Wonder Woman, Parallax Green Lantern. Like you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, you could definitely do that. I would love that. You could also use like, I'm trying to see what else do I have here for Superman. You can kind of have a Superboy Prime outfit for it. Yeah, exactly. Laser vision takes more energy. Yeah, kind of. You can make it so like Superman can take more hits the more he uses his powers. What I mean by that is that Superman is more vulnerable as he uses his powers. It's just that way you can kind of. Oh yeah, the Milkman suit. Remember Milk Wars, JJheat? Where Superman becomes Milkman Man and Wonder Woman becomes Wonder Wife. And by the way, that is Superman's character's name, Milkman Man. There you go. I just want a Justice League game similar to Scott Snyder's. Sixth Dimension arc is too big for one game, Tavia. I get what you're going for, and that sounds like a cool idea, but that's too much to put into one game, particularly if we're taking out the live service element.
Wait, so is he talking the Sixth Dimension arc specifically, or the Totality War in general?
I think he's talking about the Sixth Dimension arc. So I'm like, I don't think you could do that in a game, in one game.
Maybe over the course of a trilogy, but definitely not in one project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Mixoplick as the villain. I mean, we do have that, by the way. It's the Justice League Cosmic Chaos game, which is actually very fun. Earth 3 Crime Syndicate. Actually, wait. Here's the villain, the Crime Syndicate. Because that way, Superman can punch everyone. Oh, JSA skins with their original voice acting that turned. Yes, that would actually be really cool. Kind of like the way they do it in Injustice, where like Jay Garrick, like in Injustice 2, you can swap Jay Garrick, Barry Allen with Jay Garrick, and he becomes and it actually changed the voice actor and all that stuff. That would be really cool. I could see that. And by the way, if it's Earth 3 Crime Syndicate with their OP version versus Superboy Prime is going to body them. Right, JJheat?
Yeah, if you put Superboy Prime in the game, it is a massacre. I'm not going to say it's God Killer, it's God Killer bad, but
no, it's not that. Well, actually, if you read Infinite Crisis, it's close to it. I got to be honest, I was inspired when we were doing God Killer by that part in Infinite Crisis. I mean, can you blame me? He's tearing people's arms off in that one. This is the guy that revived Jason Todd from the dead by punching reality.
Obvious Falcon punch joke aside.
Yeah, wait, the Batman who laughs? That would be cool, Tavia, if DC had not oversaturated with the Batman who laughs.
You mean the Batman who tries too hard?
The try hard Batman. Yes, exactly. See, the problem with it, and Jay, you can back me up on this, is they tried with the Batman who laughs, and they had a great idea. The problem is when he showed up in too many books that he had no business showing up in.
I agree.
It's actually, to quote our episode of Under Two Capes that came out today about Harley Quinn, too much of a good thing is still too much. There is such thing as too much of a good thing. I cite the Batman Who Laughs as my example. Yeah, so doing really well. I like that. So Superboy Prime is a beast. Yeah, he was. I have his action figure right up there. He's one of my favorite characters, and arguably, here's the one thing I will give Death Metal: that tie-in redeems Superboy Prime.
I'm jumping back in here.
Okay, cool.
To step away for a minute, but I'm not sure you already mentioned this, but would it be a single player game or would it be a
Multiplayer?
Multiplayer. Okay, got
At
it.
least 4-player. And the way I would handle the lineup is do it like Ultimate Alliance. We can swap them in and out.
Okay. Okay.
That way you don't have to exclude other characters. That would work and adjust the game. But now that I had you back, who would you think would be a good like antagonist?
I think we I heard a couple of options you guys threw out. Like the Crime Syndicate's really cool. Definitely want to avoid Darkseid since we've done it so many times.
Yeah.
But trying to think of like a really good one. I think maybe like an invasion from like some of the evil Lantern Corps, like maybe like the red and yellow Lantern Corps or something. Something
That
like
would work
unheard
for
of.
a Green Lantern game.
Well, for Green Lantern, but like we could see a little bit of like the not brightest day, but maybe some of the Justice League members get like lantern rings or something like that.
Oh, you mean like
got-
when, like in Blackest Night, when everyone got lantern rings? That makes sense, except for Superman, who didn't get a blue lantern ring.
Yeah, something like that along those lines. I don't know, just throwing something out there.
That would be cool. But all right, the lantern costumes, like Wonder Woman's green, Star Sapphire costume, has to be available as a costume. But Legion of Doom works. I 100% think that like it works to have like another team to oppose them. Plus, if you do like online PvP multiplayer, one side plays it as the Legion of Doom, the other side plays as the Justice League. They could do the invasion event. Oh, I got it, JJheat. Bloodlines. Remember that event? But anyway, so JJheat, you said you had an idea. Surprise me.
Apocalypse War.
Okay, if we wanted to bite the bullet and do Darkseid, yes, I would be totally cool with that. Now, here's an idea I just had. Magog from Kingdom Come. And you build up to, in the final game in the series is Kingdom Come the game.
Huh?
That'd
be kind of cool.
And
not gonna lie.
Tevia,
I see what you're
cooking. I would love for Darkseid War to get adapted because that's my favorite event ever. Mongol could also work. Like he keeps showing. This is how you bring in the a Nemesis system. You have it where like Mongol keeps sending bounty hunters. That could work really well. But so in terms of like, now, do you guys think we should do this as like a massive space exploring game? In other words, or should we keep the battlefield, if you will, confined to Earth? How massive are we going with this?
Depends if this is strictly a one and done game. If this is one and done, I would definitely settle for keeping it grounded on Earth. But if this is guaranteed to get a sequel, I would definitely use like space or off-world mechanics.
Mm-hmm. The other thing that I think would be fun, they did this in the Superman Returns game. I'm going to reference this again, where you could turn into Bizarro and destroy the whole of Metropolis. I think you should do that. That'd be kind of cool to have a thing where like it's a game mode where like cause as much mayhem as possible, and you could play as the supervillains. Bloodlines, the event that introduced a ton of new DC heroes that were forgotten within months. LOL. Yeah, Dave, exactly. Okay, Randy. I like where you're going for. That needs setup. Anti-Monitor needs massive setup. But I would love for that to be the final villain. Warworld looks like an amalgamation of different planets. Yeah, exactly. But what are you guys going to say?
Oh, I was just I was thinking of a few because I don't want to use like an A tier villain. I want to use like maybe like a B or C tier villain that we can
like Starro?
At least for the first game. No, not Starro. I really don't like Starro.
Yeah, it's not my favorite villain. Like you could use Maxwell Lord.
Could be kind of interesting.
And have it be like a traitor story on the inside. Like you could try to adapt like what you can from the OMAC project, but you can kind of like trim it down. Now,
Isn't that basically Infinite Crisis?
yeah, but no, because the OMAC project was like taking place during Infinite Crisis. Justice League versus Deceased.
Have we ever
Deceased
got?
as a game.
Yeah. Have we ever gotten a zombie superhero game? You know?
No, not to my memory. That could, you know, Call of Duty has a zombies mode. That's what this is. It's the deceased zombies. That's what it is. That'd be so much fun. That's survival mode.
That'd be sick.
Gorilla Grodd. That could work.
Gorilla Grodd could be. Yeah, I could see that.
Nice one, Zeke. Because he has fought the Justice League before, and he is a threat that would warrant the Justice League. That could work. Or we adapt Throne of Atlantis. Atlantis invades. Plus, that's an excuse for Superman and Wonder Woman to be on a date, which we all want that. I would adapt the Legion of Doom for a video. Yeah, we understand, Xavier. We understand. But yeah, so that's where. So in other words, so it's gonna be a 4-player game. You can swap in and out of the Justice League. Ultra Humanite can work, not Perpetua Tab, because again, that requires a massive setup. The villain we still have to hammer down, but I think Gorilla Grodd is a good choice.
I'd be down for something like that. That'd be kind of interesting.
Or my other option. It's my wild card. Are you ready? The Greek gods.
Oh.
Because I can't believe they've never done a full-on story arc in Justice League. They have it in Justice. I want to be clear on this because I know someone's going to correct me on this. But they haven't done a story where the Greek gods become jealous of the love and adoration the Justice League get, so they wanted to pose them. Where is
basically
that story?
Lazarus Planet? Basically Lazarus Planet, Revenge of the
Was
Gods.
it the Greek gods, though?
Yes.
It was?
Yes. Hippolyta led a coup against Thor God led a coup against Zeus under the influence of the Lazarus Reign.
No, I mean the whole event is the Justice League versus the Greek gods. I'm not talking about one tie-in.
Technically, it was a spin-off event, but I'll concede your point.
There you go. And you can call it Justice League God War. There you go. And yeah, I vote leave it to, I'll tell you what, keep it on Earth, but you can travel to different locations, particularly if you go with like Gorilla Grodd as the villain, because you can go to Gorilla City. You could go to Metropolis and Gotham and Central and Coast City. I think the original four, the four default leaguers, which would be Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Green Lantern.
What? Where's Flash?
He's one of the characters you can swap in. But I'm just saying when the game first starts, these are the 4 people you start off as. You can swap them in and out. That's why I said do the Ultimate Alliance system, so you don't have because that way everyone can play as their favorite leaguer if they wanted to.
Yeah.
But Sinestro Corps again. I mean that works as a Green Lantern game, but you need a setup for that.
Oh man, I just want some Green Lantern content.
I want some I want a Green Lantern game. Now, lad, Green Lantern, but it's an RPG like Mass Effect.
Oh, that'd be so great.
When you explore, it's very similar to Mass Effect. You're exploring the universe. You get to see all the little aliens. You get to play games. It's basically Mass Effect, but with a Green Lantern ring.
And fun fact, cool. I'm actually completing a playthrough of the Max trilogy, starting with the first game.
Nick's nickname says, "Not a game idea, just curious. Does Krypton have other gods? They have. They have Rao, I believe, right?
Yes, but I don't think they actually have a mythology. I think it's just Rao.
They have vigilantes in the form of Nightwing and Flamebird, and that's where Nightwing got the idea for his name. But yeah, the Green Lantern game on Wii was all right. Yeah, the tie-in game I heard was okay, but it's like." But Tavia, we're talking about the question was, does Krypton have gods? That's what we were talking about. Justice League versus they did Justice League versus Predators. It sucked. They made it where the Predators were genetically augmented to counter the Justice League power. So you had one that was a Plastic Man Predator that could morph into a fighter jet. And I was watching this and I'm like, that sucks. That sucks. So on that note, I think that's a good place to leave our Justice League game, and we can continue this on a future stream as well when we have the full crew. But on that note, everyone, so JJheat, where can we find you and what we got coming on your channel? And JJheat, you are muted.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question?
Where can we find you and what do we got coming on your channel?
Again. Oh, sorry. Okay. You can find me at JJheat75 on YouTube, Twitter, or X, JJheatBlaze on YouTube. As I previously mentioned, I'm working on a Mass Effect playthrough. And stay tuned for hopefully this Sunday, where we actually officially discuss New Direction Wonder Woman.
Hell yeah. So, lad, when can we expect you to come back to Comics League?
You know, I'm a mysterious person. I come and go, and surprise appearances are always around. So, you know, we'll see, I guess, at some point.
Well, you always have an open invitation since you're a co-founder. You have an open invitation. As for me, Britt and I are going to talk about why DC kind of ignores the Kryptonian part of Superman. And we're going to talk about why they work as like a refugee/immigrant story and why DC wants to go away from that, which is vaguely racist, but we'll talk about that. In terms of my next commentary video, the Lois Lane video did really well, so I'm very happy with that. I'll be doing more of that. Nick and I have Justice League rewatch, and then next Under Two Capes, I haven't like hammered down what movie I want to watch, but I mean, in terms of like Under Two Capes, what topic I want to talk about, but I will update you guys soon as I do. So tomorrow we're talking about Batman Under the Red Hood, so that's the first one, and then next week we'll be covering, I believe, I think the first one we're going to cover is going to be Superman Red Sun, and Sam Liu may make an appearance.
Oh.
So we will see that, and we'll see. I'll let you guys know when we schedule that. So that's going to be fun. So on that note, stay heroic, and remember, Lois Lane is Lois Lame. See you later.
Excelsior!